Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, you can tell it's a Saturday night. Why am I uploading today? Well, today we are talking about Manager of the Year, Player of the Year, and Young Player of the Year. And I will be revealing mine to you guys. If you are new, be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and in the comments, let us know who's been your Manager of the Year, Player of the Year, and Young Player of the Year. But we'll jump straight into this. So we'll start off with Manager of the Year, probably the easiest one in terms of it is hotly contested, but it isn't. I've narrowed it down to 5 people. These 5 people are Pep Guardiola, Thomas Tuchel, David Moyes, Calo Angelotti, and Brendan Rodgers. So a lot of great seasons for each manager there, and few of them will be ruled out for different reasons and different things, of course. So the first one, who I'm going to put in 5th place, we'll say, is Calo Angelotti. A very good season for Everton this year, but with the promise that they showed at the beginning of the year, I think he'll be a little bit disappointed to finish sort of 8th, 9th, wherever he finishes, come the final day, which will be Sunday, so tomorrow, in terms of this video. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed in terms of how the team has played and stuff like that, but not a bad season for Angelotti, and he's proved again what a fantastic manager he is. Moving into 4th place. The reason this guy's in 4th place, although he is close to my heart, is because he only started in January. I don't think you can give a manager of the season to someone who has only been there since January. That man is Thomas Tuchel. Absolutely revolutionised this Chelsea team and has been simply sensational, really. The whole Chelsea team has since Tuchel has come in, and a few wobbles here and there, but fortunately he's managed to push us into a promising position for the Champions League, and like I say, we'll find out tomorrow who finishes in those Champions League spots. Moving on to 3rd place has to be Pep Guardiola for me. Pep's had an absolutely fantastic season yet again, but at the beginning, bit of a wobble right at the beginning. I did a video ages ago, which was like the most disappointing team of the season so far, and Pep Guardiola's Manchester City were that team. They weren't great for the first couple of months, but found their legs and started to kick on, and that is because of some of the signings they made as well. They were really, really good for the most part of the season. It's not too much of a challenge, and we kind of expected Pep Guardiola's Man City to be up there anyway, which is why he finishes in 3rd. 2nd place, I'm going to give this somewhat controversially to David Moyes. West Ham have been sensational for the most part of this season. Their legs have gone a little bit towards the back end of this season, but for the most part, they have been sensational. Had they finished in the Champions League spots, I would have absolutely given this to David Moyes. But I believe there is one manager who has done a little bit better this season, and that man is Brendan Rodgers. Leicester City have been utterly fantastic this season, from beating Manchester City, I believe it was like 5-1, 5-2, to winning the FA Cup final. They have been absolutely fantastic. It'd be a shame if they drop out of the Champions League spots, especially because it could be on goal difference. But what a season it has been for Brendan Rodgers' men, and what a time for them as well. Let me know though, guys, who is your manager of the season? That's a quick reason why each of those fall into that position. Moving on to the player of the season, for me, this is a really, really difficult one, because there have been a few that have stood out, but a few that need mentioning. I've ended up with 6 here. The 6 are Harry Kane, Mo Salla, Bruno Fernandes, Jack Relish, Ruben Diaz, and Ilkai Gundaman. And similarly to Thomas Tuchel, Jack Relish is going to start us off in 6th place. As fantastic as he was and as creative as he was for Aston Villa, I can't justify giving a player of the season to someone who's been injured for a few months. I think that's a valid reason not to give someone it, and had he played that whole time, he would have definitely been in contention. I think it showed as well how important to that team he was, the fact that Aston Villa have really dropped off since Grealish has been injured. Moving on to 5th place, I have gone with Mohamed Salah. I think a lot of people have slept on Mohamed Salah this season, but he has been fantastic for the most part. I believe there was a Sky Sports video where Chunk said that he didn't score when Liverpool weren't doing well. That's a load of tosh, that is. Mo Salah has been very consistently scoring for Liverpool this season. He scored twice in the 7-2 loss, and that's all you need to know about Mohamed Salah. He has been fantastic yet again. And 5th place, don't think he's too harsh, don't think he's too good either. Moving on, we'll move on to Ilkai Gundaman. He is in 4th place for this selection. Ilkai Gundaman is another player for me who has been, a class up, a step up really from where he was last year, and maybe a little bit unlucky not to feature higher up in this list, but the goals he scored, 13 in the league, absolutely fantastic, fair play Gundaman. We'll move on to Bruno Fernandes, who is in 3rd for me. Maybe if Man United had pushed for a title, then maybe he would feature higher up, but I can't justify it. I think he's a very, very good player, very talented, and the people above him, for me, have had a better season. Second place, the first defender out of the entirety of this list. You could have guessed Ruben Diaz was going to be in here. He has been sensational this season. He's really solidified that Manchester City defence. He looks like he could blossom into a really, really fantastic player, but he's not quite reached that level for me to challenge the person who finished him first, and that person is Harry Kane. Harry Kane has been simply sensational in a team that is finishing 6th, 7th, 8th, around that place in the league. Top goal scorer, top assister. What more can you want from your striker? He deserves a bigger move, and maybe on Tuesday I'll talk about that a little bit more. But for me, Harry Kane is Player of the Year. However, moving on, we'll move on to the Young Player of the Season award, and this is always a little bit more difficult in terms of a lot of the young players don't tend to get as much game time, but we have got quite a few big names in there, so I'll read them out for you right now. We have Mason Mount, of course I was going to put him in there, Phil Foden, Bukayo Saka, Meslier, Harvey Barnes, and again, Ruben Diaz. So a broad range of players, goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, lots of good players, lots of good talents. Let me know, guys, who is your young player of the season? I think the first player I can eliminate, same reason for Jack Grealish, same reason for Thomas Tuchel, hasn't played the whole or been involved in the whole of the season, Harvey Barnes. If Harvey Barnes had been fit for the entirety of the season, I have no doubts in my mind he would be up there in the top 3 battling for this Young Player of the Season award. And for me, he was utterly sensational for the most part of the first part of the season. What more can you ask from a youngster? People were questioning him because he is sort of getting out of that age category now. He's like going 23, 24, so he's literally as old as he can be to be in this Young Player of the Year award. People were questioning him, saying he needs to kick on now, and he really did this season. In 5th place, I'm going to go with Leeds goalkeeper Meslier. I think he has been one of the standouts for Leeds this season, really proved himself at a Premier League level. I was a bit pessimistic of Leeds United moving into this season, and I think people can see why, because they played this fast, expansive football, but I thought there was going to be a cap on how far they could get, because I think teams would be able to exploit them, and I've been proven wrong so far. And Meslier has been a reason for that, because if you do get through that Leeds United back line, then you've got a fantastic shot stopper, and he deserves a place in at number 5. Number 4 for me has to be Bukayo Saka. Don't get me wrong, this lad has had a fantastic season. Him and Emile Smith-Rowe have absolutely carried this Arsenal team this year, but for me, he's not quite done enough to justify a position above the front 3. The front 3 for me have been that step up above the rest of them. In 3rd place, this might sound a little bit controversial, and I'm sure at some point you may see a bias for me coming in here, but number 3 I'm going to go with Phil Foden. And before I hear you say Phil Foden is a generational talent, he's this, he's that, I agree. He is a fantastic player, but this season, if they didn't have Phil Foden, would Manchester City still be in the same position? Yes, I think they would. And the 2 people above in this thing, I don't think they would still be in the same position, their teams. Moving on to 2nd place. And 2nd place, Ruben Diaz is going to kill me. He is going to kill me because I've put him in 2nd place again. I know that sounds a little bit harsh because Mason Mount didn't feature in the top 6 of the other one, but for me, I just think Mason Mount as a young player has had a better season than Ruben Diaz. And I know that sounds strange and I can't quite get my head around it, but I think Diaz has had a very, very good season, but I don't think he's been the best at anything. Maybe it's because he's just come in and maybe we don't associate him being a young player because he has that head on his shoulders, but Ruben Diaz has been a great player, but I also think there have been games as well in Manchester City's side where they haven't used him and City have coped and they've done better. And, they've been able to perform at a similar level. And I know that sounds controversial and it probably is my Chelsea bias, but I think Mason Mount this season has been nothing short of brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I am more than happy, to be honest with you, to swap Ruben Diaz and Mason Mount around. I just think Mason Mount has had a bigger impact on his team this season than Ruben Diaz has. Ruben Diaz has been good, he's shored up the defence, but there has been a lot of catalysts and reasons why Manchester City's defence has shored up. João Cancelo now doing really well. Benjamin Mendy's been able to come back into the team at times as well. Zinchenko. Having João Cancelo, you can then pop him on the left-hand side and then play Kyle Walker. So there is lots of reasons, and of course Laporte has been back as well for quite a big part of the season, and we've seen John Stones get back to his best. There is a lot of reasons why Manchester City's defence has done well, but Chelsea, that midfield, has been able to work so fantastically, or the attacking trio, because of Mason Mount. Mason Mount is willing to put a foot in anywhere on this pitch, and he will do anything for this Chelsea side. Anyway, that concludes this week's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this on a different day as well. Maybe you weren't expecting it, maybe you were. But if you are new, be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe. Thank you for watching, guys, and most importantly, stay safe. Cheers!